Welcome to episode 124 of Closer Mentality. It's been far too long since I've said that, and welcomed you all into another week of stories on this platform. In honor of National Storytelling Week and National Girls and Women in Sports Day, I figured that this February, we could kick off year 6 of Closer Mentality with an amazing story of resilience. Without further ado, meet Liv Setla. Setla grew up in the sport shadow of her older sister Naya. Although that seems cavalier, it serves to set the scene for the younger Setla's work ethic. Naya loved volleyball, and Liv joined in. By age 9, Liv was playing on a club volleyball team in the Bay Area. She admits that at the beginning, she was only playing because it meant time spent with her sister. But as she grew and her skills progressed, volleyball began to take root in her psyche.
And we played for a local club, Club Solano. That's where I got my roots, started playing, and college was not a goal or even like insight. It was, we played volleyball, we had fun, we had a good family culture. And I moved to Michigan in the middle of middle school and then moved to play at Legacy in Michigan, one of the top clubs in the country. And so when I started training there, the coaches, by my 12, even as early as 12s, that my team, the expectation was, hey, we start this, we play at a high level, and the goal is to make it to college. And at Legacy, D1. So when I moved over to that club, that's when I started to realize, like, not just, okay, this is the culture here, but I would go watch Michigan volleyball games and just fell in love with, like, the idea of, like, I want to play as long as I can, because I love this sport so much. So I would say 13, 14 years old was when I had the dream of, like, I want to play Division I college volleyball, and by my 15th year was when I realized, okay, this is a real thing that could be a possibility. And when I had made that move from California to Michigan, I decided to play a grade down. So I was young enough to play on, at the time I was 12, when most people are 11 playing 12s, I was already 12 playing 12s again. So I stayed with that 12s, 13s, 14s year, even up to my 15th year. So I was an older 15-year-old on a team. So I was already a sophomore when most are freshmen. So I had to start sending emails early, like, hey, get my name out there, get coaches to realize, like, hey, I'm already a sophomore. So then from there, I went to camps and found out quickly, like, hey, what's a good fit, what's not. And it came down to the last two schools that I really wanted to go to, was University of Dayton and UNLV. And I just felt a better fit at UNLV. I love the idea of going back west to be around my family that I had in California, and thank God, like, the weather and all those different types of things. I just fell in love with UNLV and their family culture.
Setla could see her college career coming together. Division I volleyball scholarship, accolades, national championships, friendships, the full college experience. Then, burnout reared its ugly head. Setla, who had up to this point been successful and determined, felt like she had hit a wall.
My first experience with burnout was my senior year of high school. I would say even earlier, but true burnout at my worst point, I would say senior year of high school. My personality, I love to be in the gym. I love not just going to practice, but I love getting extra reps. I love getting workouts. Like, I just genuinely love it. So any free moment we weren't at a tournament or traveling, I would try to get in the gym and be doing something. And I would always go, and also have high standards for myself. I say I'm a recovering perfectionist. So I would also, on top of all that, be struggling to fit in time to do homework, and also I wanted straight A's. Every single little assignment had to be 100%. So this all caught up to me my senior year, and by the end of the fall, I had been playing high school volleyball season, but when club was starting, I actually got to a point where I couldn't even get out of bed. It was really hard for me to start balancing school and volleyball. And luckily, my parents kind of knew my needs and what would work best for me, and this might not work best for everybody, but I was able to take a break from school and continue to move my body, go to practice, because they knew volleyball was kind of my therapy in a sense, where, hey, you have to get up, move your body, you can't just stay in bed all day. So they let me go to practice, let me stay work out, but I would take the load off of these high expectations I set for myself in school. So I stopped, I would say, I think it was 2 or 3 months where I was completely, like, not going to school. that all caught up to me. I had to, I was struggling to pass grades, and I did all the work to get caught up and at least pass. And this was difficult for me coming from my freshman, sophomore year, trying to be all A's, and then now I'm just barely passing. But I got it through, and then second semester, I was finally able to catch up and get back on track again with both school and volleyball a little bit before I headed to college.
During her absence from high school, Setla was struggling more than she was even willing to let on. The weight of perfectionism was slowly draining her.
This was senior year of high school. I wasn't going to school, wasn't motivated, had a hard time getting out of bed. And this kind of deep sinking feeling was bigger than just sad. I just felt like something heavier was kind of on top of me. So I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and a lot of people know that it kind of goes hand in hand. And to talk about my diagnosis a little bit, at the time, I was really happy that I had see, it's real. Now I can start addressing it, understanding it, working through it. But now I understand that this idea of this scientific word of neuroplasticity in the brain, like the connections you feed your brain, those are going to become stronger versus the things you don't work on so much. Or that same thing with memories. If you don't live it every day, you'll forget. So me having been diagnosed at one point in my life, yes, I had depression, anxiety, but then also realize that was at that time, and you can also grow and learn from different things from it. So I understood hey, I have to get on a regular schedule. I have to get a decent amount of sleep. And just more of this overall wellness that kind of played into my depression and anxiety. And that's my experience with my diagnosis and my wellness journey. And so there are people out there that have chronic mental illness, like the bipolar disorders, chronic anxiety, chronic depression. That's nothing to take away from that specific diagnosis. But I think a lot of people don't actually realize hey, you can be diagnosed with something, but still your brain can learn to almost unlearn that and come out of it. And it's hard to say that to someone at that moment. If you told me when I was diagnosed, hey, actually, if you just didn't sleep for 4 hours a night, and didn't push yourself so hard, and ate right, and laughed a little bit, you'd feel a lot better. I'd be no, this is real. This is something way deeper. You have no idea what you're talking about. But that was my whole journey through college of really understanding how to live, how to carry myself in a way that's sustainable.
A chronic overworker and problem solver, Setla felt like she understood the steps to release herself from the depressive emotions. But it was like being stuck in a glue trap. She couldn't will herself to be better, and everything she knew would make her feel better only added anxiety to the equation.
I just remember feeling all the time I understand and I know conceptually this is how to get out. This is how to get up, make your bed, get ready for the day. That's what I'm supposed to do. But I feel so heavy to the point where I cannot will myself this strength anymore to get up and get going. I cannot all of a sudden find the strength of dig deep and find it. So then that's when I knew of I can't overpower this heavy thing on top of me. And I think at the time of my diagnosis, I would not have been able to explain it like this. It's taken years of talking about what I feel, thinking about it, and also mix that in with living and understanding hey, down here feels like this. But I've also learned what it actually feels like to thrive and love life. So now that I've hit both ends, I've understood how to describe each side, because I'm open about talking about it and learning that, but really just trying to learn how to talk about this, honestly.
Setla was working with a therapist to get herself back on track ahead of college. But the struggle of finding a practitioner who understood her left a bad taste in her mouth.
So I just started therapy consistently at this point. My freshman, sophomore year, my parents could tell hey, Liv needs someone to talk to that isn't us, but we need to find somebody, but I've never really found somebody that I really gelled with. And so by my senior year, I found somebody that I really liked and was able to start meeting pretty consistently. I don't remember my exact schedule, but I would say therapy, I guess in general, you try out, it's almost like kind of like dating, like finding somebody that you click with, someone that understands you. I hear a lot of experiences with girls now, um, like, hey, I've done therapy, but I don't know, I didn't really like her that much. And it is exhausting trying to like explain everything you've been through and what you want to work on, and then to this person, and then it doesn't work out, and it's like, oh, I have to bring everything back up for the next person.
Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless of if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human in this world going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a positive way. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. This is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options just in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. If this sounds like something that could help you, there's a link in the show notes to get you started on your therapy journey. It's betterhelp.com/closer mentality. Clicking that link helps support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp. Because finding a therapist is a little like dating. If you don't really fit with the therapist matched with you, it's easy and free to switch therapists without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/closer mentality. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/closer mentality. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this channel. Did you know that you can purchase audiobooks directly from your favorite local bookstore? With Libro FM, you can pick from more than 325,000 audiobooks, including bestsellers and recommendations from real booksellers. You'll get the same audiobooks at the same price as the largest audiobook company out there, you know the name. But you'll be part of a different story, one that supports your local community. If you're new to audiobooks, they're the perfect way to squeeze more reading into your busy life. Listen with the free Libro FM app while you do chores, walk the dog, or relax at home. If you already love audiobooks and don't know what to listen to next, check out recommendations from the people who know best, booksellers. Closer Mentality has partnered with Libro FM on a special offer. Through the link in the show notes, you can get 2 audiobooks on Libro FM for the price of 1. Offer only valid for new members in Canada and the US. Thanks to Libro FM for sponsoring this podcast. Setla's work with a therapist seemingly unchained her from the load of perfectionism and self-efficacy. She was able to acknowledge when she needed help and reach out to the appropriate channels, but it took years of self-discovery.
On the contrary of me having this value of like, I need to work harder and do more and give more, she was very validating of like, hey, it's okay to like slow down. It's okay to, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. Because I would think, oh, I'm upset, but now I need to fix it. Or I'm frustrated, but you have to get over it, like move on to the next play. And it was okay to like sit in what wasn't good. I guess, but that's with the first person that I really liked. And also I want to comment with my journey through therapy. I realized it's not just, oh, let me sit down and talk to somebody for an hour. I've also learned therapy is more holistic and like moving your body, eating right. But I guess the beginning of what traditional therapy looks like, I guess that's why I liked her a lot.
Setla was excited for the promise of college and finding happiness within herself again, until familial tragedy struck. When she was 17, Setla's father passed unexpectedly, sending shockwaves through the emotional turmoil already festering under the surface.
So that was my senior year. I just had experienced burnout in the fall of 2020. Spring 2021, my dad was actually huge in helping me getting back on track with school. He would help me with my assignments, and be on top of me. Like, hey, honestly, like literally sitting at the kitchen table doing homework with me. And then he passed away. And so then he passed away in May. So then I had to graduate, go to prom, move to Vegas, and start this whole life and I reported to Vegas like early June that year. So each weekend was like, okay, this was prom, and which was the same day and place as my dad's visitation. And then graduation, all right, this weekend is my grad party. Then next weekend we're leaving to go to Vegas. So I had such a whirlwind of a senior year.
Unfortunately, the impact of her father passing threw her back into the emotional fire. She had committed to play for the UNLV Rebels, but suddenly there was a dark cloud over her relationship with volleyball. Playing felt more like a help-seeking behavior than a love of the sport.
I had just been through this deep depression, so I thought, okay, this deep depression started to teach me I need to feel and understand my emotions. Then my dad passed, and I was like, oh, this is something I cannot just go to practice and just forget about. Like, I have to actually sit with this. And then when I got to college, I kind of reset and thought, okay, I'm here. I gotta go to practice, and I'm glad I did because it got me back up again. But I did fall into old patterns of like, don't talk about it, put on a happy face. I'm positive, I'm ready to be here, I'm ready to work hard. And I didn't want, and also I'm learning and meeting new people. So I don't want them to think that when I'm not okay to be there and I don't want to be there, I genuinely I'm ready to be here and give as much as I can. And it wasn't until my head coach had sat me down some point when season started in the fall and said like, hey, we haven't talked about this. I know this giant thing just happened before you got here. And this was a weird space for me because these are all these new people that I'm meeting, so they didn't know him. So I didn't understand like how to talk about him without my teammates being like, every time I would talk about him, I'd be like, oh, this is my dad's favorite song. Or this is like, oh, that reminds me of him. And just wanting to talk about him and my teammates get to know him, even though he wasn't here. And they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And like, I didn't want that. So I was like, no, I didn't mean that. I just want, it's his favorite song. It's cool. So I stopped talking about him a lot to my teammates and my new coaches. And then when my coach had brought up like, hey, how are you? This whole thing just happened. I don't understand how to communicate with you. And this was also when I learned, like, I didn't understand that coach and player relationship in college because it really is more than what you have in club. It's like, hey, you're my kid for the next how many years, right? And I genuinely want to get to know you. And I was like, oh, I thought I just had to prove myself every day. So then when she had brought that up, that's when I started to realize kind of first process everything that just happened because I didn't even have a chance to do that before I moved. And then actually halfway through my freshman year, I got a concussion that knocked me out for a few months. So I was out for the rest of that season. But then my sophomore year was when I started to like, okay, get back on my feet, get back on the schedule of D1 demands. And then I realized, oh, I still have like things I was dealing with before my dad had passed. So freshman year was like, okay, let's figure that out and process dad. Sophomore year was understand that life schedule, like not burning out, not like how do I actually take care of myself and my mental health without that huge loss. Then by my junior year, I started to understand this idea of wellness of like, oh, like going for walks and this lighter side and this happier side of mental health. So I guess that's when I really started to feel like prioritize my happiness or understand those emotions. I thought that was like normal. I don't know. I thought like, yeah, life is hard. It sucks. Like push through. So then by my junior year and understanding like there are actually a lot of student athletes that come in to college with two parents and not necessarily going through everything that I had gone through and just like college is so much fun and just like this huge experience and that's actually more normal. I was like, so I had to almost teach myself how to have fun and how to be happy and that like this like heavy feeling isn't a baseline. Like what is a real healthy baseline of being? So it was a lot of learning, I'd say. It took me a long time to understand my identity as an athlete again because I knew I worked hard and pushed through fundamentally as an athlete, but as a competitor on the court, it's an art. It's this mix of like work hard but have fun and be free. And the have fun and be free I didn't understand because COVID, we were shut inside. Then all the rest of the things that had happened, I didn't understand like how to compete and like really let that side of me go. So then junior year, when I was learning that, I had a hard time struggling with playing time. And it made sense now looking back on it, because I really wanted to start, really wanted to earn my time playing. But the thing I had to learn was how to have fun and be free and let go and trust my body. But that comes with time. So I didn't have that time to do that. And so by my senior year, I started to grasp it of like, oh, like I have energy because I didn't get extra reps, and then now I can really pour into practice, and then like in practice I can like laugh. So, and I listened to other players' experiences, understanding that some people take the JUCO route. It's an amazing route. They go to junior college, freshman, sophomore year, get a lot of playing time, get a lot of understanding of themselves as a player on the court. Then by their junior, senior year, they're ready to lead at a D1 program. And I almost wish that was the route I took, just because I had so much like life work to get under my belt before I could start on the court and be a great leader solely on the court. But again, remind myself everything happened the way it was supposed to. But that was just my journey of like, how do I learn how to be a competitor on the court when I hadn't had this time to do so?
Learning how to compete for enjoyment again was one of the paramount struggles for Setla. She was suiting up for the Rebels and giving her all to the competition, not to herself.
And I remember being in my sophomore, junior year, constantly calling my family, like, I'm working so hard. And I remember my freshman year, and I understand process. Like, what you work hard for, you will not see the results immediately. It'll take time. By my sophomore, junior year, I'm like, I understand this, but like, how much more? Like, I don't see the end of like, how much more do I have to do before I start getting rewarded for this? And I also had a hard time with this because my family was in Michigan, and I was like, I'm making all these little improvements and all of these things you guys won't see because you're so far away. Like, really, all they'll see is game time, which I wasn't getting much playing time, and then also like if we made it to the NCAA tournament, which for our team we made the first round, and of course that we didn't play our best, so we were knocked out my sophomore year, and I got a few minutes. I became in the serve, and like that's the moments they see me after all these months of hard work, and I'm like, I'm making so much more improvements, but then the only step that you see is this. It was so hard for me to like really grasp of like, am I growing? Am I getting better? What am I doing with my life? Like, is this worth it? All of this hard work for what? So that's kind of where that puts you.
It took a conversation with her strength coach at UNLV to help reframe her purpose and direction.
It sounds kind of deflating, like no matter what you do, it's not that it's not good enough, but you have to keep on upholding that standard. And I'm actually so grateful for my strength coach I had. Shout out to LV. We would be in the gym, just going through, training session, lifting, and he would put us through some tough finishers, like questioning like life decisions at that point. But we would be doing burpees, or he'd be in my ear like, this is what you got to do. You get down, you get knocked down, you have to keep getting back up. There's always going to be someone better than you. There's always going to be someone more talented. There's always going to be someone they're bringing in to look over you. And as a coach, now I'm starting to get on that side of it. That's your job. You want to make your team as good as you can with recruiting. But as that athlete that constantly has to prove yourself, you got to just keep working hard. And thank God he was there to encourage me and like, hey, this is like almost a privilege to like be that part of the team that's like, I'm going to be that workhorse. I'm going to kind of drive this fire under the team of like, hey, no matter what, even if we're on a high winning streak, or if I've been starting all 4 years, it kind of brings this almost passion out of you of like, no matter high or low, you're going to keep on a steady pace and keep working no matter what. And then I guess really looking back, what I got from that all was like such a huge, deep understanding of myself. I know my limits more than anything. Like, I know for a fact I'm the type of person, whatever situation you put me in, I'm going to give my 110%. And wherever you put me for a while, I'm going to make it better leaving it than when I came in. So, and I'm so grateful for that understanding as an adult. I go to the workplace and like, I love how I have this like really grounded sense of self. And I can't say I would have that if I hadn't gone through the experience I had in college. And to know like, oh, I don't have to be the starter all 4 years here, or this volleyball star for people to love me as a person. So then senior year, I think like this true baseline of like being happy. And I remember the summer before going into my senior year season, the coaches, we all have an end of spring meeting of like what should we do to work on, or like summer. And mine was literally like go play, like go have fun. Cause I thought I was like, maybe I'll stay and like lift extra, do all these things extra. And they're like, you need to like have fun playing. Like you need to like figure out how to go do that. So I would always go home and try to get reps or play like because I had to. But then that summer when I played in grass tournaments and sand tournaments, and like my sister and I were sand partners for the first time since we were like 12. And we were like, hey, we both haven't touched a ball in a while because we're both on summer break, but we're going to go to this tournament because it's close and a lot of my old club teammates are in it. And if you told me that like the year before, I would have been freaking out like, no, like I needed to get reps first, or I need to like get better. Like, I don't know. We just went, and then we ended up winning this like mini tournament, and it was so much fun. And it was like, I'm playing with my sister. So I would say like with volleyball, that's when I was like, oh. And then senior year, a lot of things happened where I lost and then had to regain this like happiness thing again. But that's like a moment that I will like remember forever.
The University of Nevada, Las Vegas's athletic department also employs a duo of sports psychologists to assist their athletes. It was in one such meeting that Setla had a breakthrough.
My comfort zone was this really low, heavy, deep state. And this shift of like, oh, I actually remember saying, came from our sports psychologist at UNLV. And I loved this because he was like, okay, Liv, you're a really deep, thoughtful, like heavy feeling person. Like my major is psychology. That makes sense. Like that's what I'm interested in. And that's who I am as a human. But as an athlete, you need to be like a dumb, like thoughtless, like simple thinker. And I was like, what? And he was like, the best athletes, like they don't think that much. They just do. Obviously. But it's like, then I had to like train my brain to be quiet and like simpler is better. So this shift of like overthinking and overanalyzing and like trying to simple really helped me become where I was at freshman year to where I am now.
By the time Setla was a senior for the Rebels, she had amassed quite a resume. She totaled 179 digs and 49 aces as a defensive specialist. She helped the team qualify for the postseason twice, and individually, she was named a 3-time Mountain West Conference Scholar Athlete and 2-time Mountain West Conference Academic All-Conference honoree. Most importantly, though, she was having fun playing.
My sister's been playing in adult leagues while she was in college. Her summers were different, so she was able to go home and play in these adult leagues. And I never got to because I was reporting back to school to train. But she would come home with stories and tell me like, oh, hey, like we did this and it was so much fun. And I got to meet all these new people. And I was at school and thinking like, this is my last summer last year, but I cannot wait to do that because that sounds so much fun. Like, how are we doing the same thing right now? But this feels so much worse than what you're doing over there. And I'm so glad for my time, all 4 years at the Division I university at UNLV, and doing it. And then having that to look forward to on my own time. But realizing like, that's there and you can do it. It can exist like that. It doesn't have to look like this all the time. And I think another thing I've received a lot of is when I finished playing, I actually started working. Started off as a fan engagement intern for the pro volleyball team in Vegas. And I would post about it, show pictures, perfectly happy being behind the scenes, taking pictures of everyone else. And I would get DMs and texts from friends, and I know they're meaning well, but just saying like, oh, are you going to try it out? Are you going to go pro? And I was like, no. And they're like, oh, why? And I'm sure they didn't mean any harm by it, but I was like, what do you mean, why? I just finished such a long and amazing and incredibly like such a tiring journey of volleyball. I finished it, and now I'm almost like a little bit of pressure of like, someone had told me like, oh, I quit But then I started again. I hope that makes you feel better. And I was like, well, I didn't quit. I finished. I finished this awesome chapter of my life, and then now I could do something different. So I love this like space of like casual adult volleyball because it's still competitive, and they'll have championships and still feel that like fire, that competitive spirit, but obviously like to a much more enjoyable level.
Post-graduation from UNLV in May 2025, Setla committed herself to spreading positivity and trying to break down the stigma of perfectionism and overcompensating drive within the context of competitive sport. It was from within that mission that her brand, Feed the Soul Company, bloomed.
I want to be what I wish I had. So to explain that more, Feed the Soul Company is, I would say, a mental health brand for athletes. We have a podcast, we do workshops and individual mentorship. Those are our services, and then merch. So clothes, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, that's what I'm all working on. But basically the goal of this is to destigmatize mental health, but like, oh, what does that mean? Make it normal, talk about mental health. Podcast started because I feel like you go on social media and you see the highlights, the championships, the rings, but no one talks about the recovery or the things you do off the court to get there. So I have athletes, I have coaches, I have sports reporters, a sports psychologist, all of these different people in sport, because it's not just athletes. But I think anyone working in sport knows it's taxing and the hours aren't normal, and it's a lifestyle working in sports, no matter where you are. So I want us to share more of that story. So that's why I started the podcast, more of like the storytelling aspect. And then the business side, I want to actually mentor and teach kids how to take care of yourself, because I think right now with mental health, it's amazing that we have therapy and therapy is becoming more normal. But I think a lot of guidance kids really need is like this wellness that I struggled with, like eating right, sleeping right, and how do you talk to yourself? Like I think that's super important and just baseline. And then I remember as an athlete, kids or parents telling me like, you're in your head, or like you just gotta bounce back. And like I understood that and I knew I was a mental player, but like actually how to do that and like how to build confidence. Because you just gotta be confident. You just gotta do it. And most people can, but me, and I know a lot of players feel the same way I do. It's like, how do I do this? And I thought for me, building confidence was getting in the gym, and then eventually, like, because you work hard and practice so much, it'll just come naturally and it'll just happen because you practice so hard. But here I was doing all this work and not understanding this disconnect of like, why am I not confident? Like I know I'm doing the work, but it's still, there's this disconnect. But what I learned in college was my self-talk. So then really understanding, I actually had to train like self-talk. Like I come into practice like, okay, obviously I'm working on this physical focus, but my mental focus is this. And so then like treating the mental side of like, just like how I'd be training a muscle. So that's what I want help. That's what I want to help kids do, because I felt like if I understood that earlier, I would have become one, healthier sooner. I wouldn't have spent my entire sophomore year trying to redo my lifestyle habits. And then like becoming a better volleyball player earlier. Now that I'm healthy to start with, now I can become better.
Are you an athlete rehabbing from an injury? Are you a coach or athletic trainer seeking additional support for your injured athlete toolkits? KT Tape has exactly what you need. KT Tape is a rehabilitation tape that helps stabilize and compress sensitive areas of the body during exercise. Apply KT Tape to an area either in pain or in recovery and feel the difference. KT Tape is comfortable, stable, and long-wearing. There's tape for all modes of action, from gentle, which is safe for easy activity and everyday use, to pro extreme, for athletes in moderate to high-impact exercise. KT Tape makes water-resistant tape as well for a more adaptable rehabilitation implementation. KT Tape caters to lifelong athletes and focuses on reducing muscle soreness for all users when worn during exercise and up to 48 hours post. Are you an athlete in need of prescription sports goggles or sunglasses? Today's final sponsor may have just the solution for you. A Sight for Sport Eyes was created when founder Shannon Knight saw a niche that was perpetually going unfulfilled. A Sight for Sport Eyes grew out of a need for education surrounding the impact of sport-related eye injuries and their lasting repercussions. A Sight for Sport Eyes runs like a regular optical practice, not an e-commerce store. Their goal is to give you the same high-quality service and name-brand lenses made by the best optical laboratories in the country, geared specifically for athletes and athletic use cases. If you need new lenses or frames, a site for sport eyes is the perfect place to get them. The links to BetterHelp.com, Libro.fm, KT Tape, and a site for sport eyes are all in the show notes. Now, let's get back to the episode. Now removed from competitive volleyball, Setla has had time to reevaluate her distanced relationship with the sport. Leaving competition wasn't easy, but she had done the work to redefine her drive and direction, such that when presented with opportunities to be around the court again, the anxiety and depressive feelings she'd worked so hard to free herself of no longer materialized.
Weirdly enough, even though I was like, all done volleyball, I don't want to see volleyball again. My boss at Vegas Thrill, the pro volleyball team in Vegas, Fran Flory, she is amazing, and she kind of started to heal my relationship with the sport because of just leadership, and her style worked really well with me. She's all about merit, and I think that was helpful for me because that's how I am too. And on my exit meeting, because when I was leaving there, had to move, she was saying how she really hopes that I come back to the sport and like gives back to the sport in some way. I'm so grateful that I kind of done the deep work of reflecting on what I'm good at. Who am I really outside of volleyball? Because my junior year, I couldn't tell you who I was or what I had outside of volleyball. And I think that's so common in that space. But that's actually exactly where I was when I finished playing volleyball. Like, I don't want to look at volleyball. I don't want to say volleyball. In Vegas, they have such a big community of adult leagues and people, and a great like competitive league too, and lovely people. Like, they would always invite me to come play. Like, oh, we want to come play. Like, it's so much fun. And I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I was just like so disgusted with the idea of like volleyball. But when you're at that point, and that's what I'm kind of in the space of doing now, is like really taking space away from it, finding new ways to move my body. Like, oh, I realized like going for walks, that counts as physical exercise, and it's okay, and like it's fun, and you can enjoy and still exercise and get your fix in of working out, but it doesn't have to be as strenuous. And I'm so glad that I've taken that time, because now I'm coming back into the volleyball world, coaching now in a different side of the sport, and now I can come back with a lot more passion and enthusiasm and excitement, and just genuine, like, I feel called to do this again, not I'm going to force myself to do something that I was once good at. And now just finding different ways to like enjoy it without the pressures of what I once had, but realize you can still enjoy the same thing, but in a different context, you won't have the same pressures. So finding a way to enjoy it.
Setla recently completed her first season as an assistant coach for the Kent State University Golden Flashes. She appreciates the change of volleyball scenery and credits her ability to redefine her space in the sport with all the mental wellness work she's been able to accomplish through help from therapists, sports psychologists, and coaches along her journey. You can learn more about that journey on social media at Liv Setla, and you can listen to she and I's full interview on the Closer Mentality Uncensored YouTube channel. The links to both of those, as well as the wonderful sponsors and partners who make this podcast run, are all in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning back into Closer Mentality. As always, I'm your host, Julia Mellett. See you next week.